Ma'am, some Durga Ratnam and Navade Ravala, ma'am.
Yeah, I think she is the other coordinator for this event.
Yes, ma'am.
You may have to unmute her as well.
I didn't found her name, Durga Ratnam, the name Durga Ratnam.
Oh, you don't have anybody by that name? Then I think Bhavani ma'am needs to find that out.
Bhavani, ma'am. Bhavani, ma'am. Bhavani, ma'am, unmute yourself.
Sit comfortably. Sit comfort.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we start?
Okay, Durga Ratnam, madam, is there anybody with the name Durga Ratnam?
She had already joined, it seems.
I didn't found anyone with that name. Durga Ratnam. Some name called Durga Bhavani Sunkara.
No, Durga Ratnam.
Straight kuch pakka ko no.
Anyway, shall we start, ma'am?
Okay, shall we start? Subbu, shall we start?
Okay.
Subbu,
Okay, madam, you can start.
you are ready?
Okay.
Okay. A very good evening, everyone who joined in this e-conference. I am Dr. P Bomani, lecturer in charge, Department of English, VSM College, RAMACHANDRAPURAM, in East GODAVARI district, Andhra Pradesh. This institute was formed by late Sri Undavalli Satyanarayana in 1966 and has become one of the renowned institutions in the state. From the last 4 decades, our college has grown with good strength and vigor, and now it bloomed as one of the biggest educational institutes in the state, with a number of courses like engineering, polytechnic, UG and PG levels, attracting students from various districts in Andhra Pradesh. Our college attracts the visitors with its impressive buildings, beautiful gardens, well-equipped classrooms, good laboratories. Finally, it's a treasure house of knowledge and wisdom. It's a fortunate thing to work in this institute. As an organizer of this conference, I want to say one thing to all our brilliant audience, that in this pandemic time, it's time to keep calm. In this pandemic time, it's time to keep calm and carry on things. The thing we have to fear is fear itself. The thing we have to fear is fear itself. It's better to be busy than to be busy worrying. It's better for us to be busy than to be busy worrying. I suppose we all became busy with this conference. I suppose we all became busy with this conference titled English Language Teaching Basic Principles and Future Directions. In this conference, we are very privileged to meet the great academic persons. For today, we got M. nagaRAJU sir, a great leader in leading multiple tasks and going to share us with his blended learning, the future of English teaching. And Dr.Amitha Ruth, great and rope supporter of this e-conference. And currently she is ESL instructor in Milwaukee School of Engineering. And she is going to contribute to us on the topic Basic Principle for Developing Reading and Writing. And for the next day, we got the speakers, Mr. Joel Walcott, an experienced English and Spanish teacher, basic principles for reading, for listening, for learning and audible, it is basic principles for developing listening and speaking. And we also got another important host, Dr. Meenakshi Bharat, Assistant Professor of English in Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. She is going to share us with the topic administrative feedback for effective language learning. Administrating feedback for effective language learning. Finally, I like to say the joy of learning is indispensable in study, just like breathing is in running. The joy of learning is as indispensable in study as breathing is in running. By learning, you will teach. By teaching, you will learn. Now we all together enjoy the joy of learning and joy of teaching. By learning, you will teach, and by teaching, you will learn. Now we all together enjoy the joy of learning and joy of teaching. And finally, I want to say one thing. A learning curve is essential to growth. A learning curve is essential to grow. From this great supportive management, I invite our dynamic academic director, K. Madhura Meenakshi Madam, to deliver her important message to this good gathering. Madam, I invite you, Madam, please.
Yeah. So, so thank you, Bhavani ma'am, and good evening to all the participants, faculty members, and everybody. This was requested from Bhavani ma'am. This program was requested from Bhavani ma'am because I really felt that for the COVID-19, we are all growing apart physically. And it's been like it feels like it's been ages since I've seen my even students, and we really want some kind of where we have to sit together and discuss things, and we are all growing apart physically. But the fortunate thing is, because of this COVID-19, if we see the look at the positive side, we are all here together from different parts of India as well, which we may not have taken as an opportunity if this COVID-19 was not there. So, it's a wonderful thing that this happened, and as soon as I requested Bhavani ma'am, I think the best part of this whole program are the resource people. I was really happy and fortunate to see that we have wonderful resource people on this conference for both the days. And I thought it's a very good exposure which our students can get through these resource people. So, so this is, I hope the next 2 days will be fruitful for all the participants here who have registered. And the registrations in the span of like 4 or 5 days, I see it grew from 0 to 1,200 around today. And we have about 150 to 200 faculty members as well in that. So I think we are keeping ourselves busy, like Bhavani ma'am said. COVID-19, let's not worry about COVID, and let's worry about what is important for all of us. And English being a global language, I'm extremely happy that VSM is able to conduct such a program today, and so much of overwhelming response for this program. So so wish you all very best in learning, and actually for the faculty, you have to grab whatever you have you get from here and to deliver to the students. And for the students, I think the content is a little bit tailored to you as well. So I hope everybody on this platform, whoever is in this platform, will learn something or the other in the next today and tomorrow, and see what the best we can do out of this situation. So once again, I hope this goes successfully, and maybe tomorrow evening we'll meet back again to share the feedback and everything. Thank you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now invite our gigantic encouraging leader and the principal of the institute, NSV Kiran Kumar sir, to deliver his significant message to this immense gathering.
Thank you, Bhavani ma'am. Honorable President and Correspondent of our college, Sri Merla Naramurthy garu, respected Academic Director, Sri M.N. Murthy garu, and respected Director, Srimati K. Madhuri Meenakshi garu, respected resource persons of this conference, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to you all for the two-day international e-conference on English language, teaching, basic principles and future directions, organized by our college, English department. VSM College is the first offspring of RAMACHANDRAPURAM Education Society, established in the year 1965, with the great philanthropist Vondavil Sachinamurthy garu, popularly known as Rayavaram Munsif. The college started with 200 students and 15 faculty members with BA, BCom and BSc programs. From this modest beginning, now the college has emerged as one of the premier institutions of higher learning in this district, with the strength of 2,300 students and 150 plus faculty members. The college attained the status of CPE by UGC New Delhi in 2010 and achieved 93rd rank in NIR of 2017. The college has celebrated its Golden Jubilee celebrations in 2016 by completing its 50 years of journey with notable milestones in academics and development of the college as a whole. Imparting quality education, transfer and upgradation of knowledge and pursuing researches are the well-defined objectives of any higher education institute. Conferences and seminars are one of the major tools to achieve these objectives and provide forum to disseminate and exchange the ideas. I'm sure that this international conference will provide a platform for meaningful deliberations on various current issues and come out with useful insights. I would like to express my appreciation to Dr. B. Bomani garu, lecturer in charge of the Department of English, and other staff members of our college for their efforts and contribution towards the organizing the e-conference in this pandemic situation and making this success. I'm thankful to the speakers of the conference for kindly accepting our request to present lectures, and I hope you all will enjoy the 2 days conference, and I wish you all have pleasant, useful and fruitful sessions. I wish a grand success of the conference and fruitful outcomes. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, continue, ma'am. Continue, ma'am.
Kiran sir, thank you very much. Kiran sir, thank you very much. And now I invite our resource person, M. nagaRAJU sir. Sir nagaRAJU sir. Sir
Yes,
nagaRAJU.
please. Yes, I'm here.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir. Please join us, sir.
I'm here.
Just a welcome speech, sir. Just we are inviting you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for this wonderful opportunity. I greet all of you and also thank for giving me this opportunity.
Please wait, sir. I will introduce you, sir. Sir, Mr. M. nagaRAJU, sir. Mr. M. nagaRAJU, sir, MA, M.Ed, PGDTE, taught English language and literature to graduate and postgraduate students at various levels and colleges. He served as principal of a postgraduate college for 5 years. He organized more than 15 educational tours across the length and breadth of the country. He is a master trainer in communicative language teaching techniques, certified by the US State Department English Language Fellow Program. He has conducted workshops for APSHI, APHRDI, IIT, Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technology, Basar, and Newsweek. He also acknowledged CCEAP, Commissionerate of College Education, AP Judicial Academy, CELT, Center of English Language Training, Cambridge University Press, and he also worked in EEI, Extension Education Institute, Agricultural University. And he's also now dealing with the APSSDC, Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Center, and several universities and institutions. Mr. Raju, a popular resource person in communication skills, soft skills, and employability skills, has been invited to speak on several current academic and general subjects or various educational forms and workshops, including UGC-sponsored orientation and refresher courses and national seminars. He has presented more than 50 TV lessons for degree and intermediate students. His contribution and commitment have earned him many rewards and recognitions. Mr. Raju is a life member of Lions Club International. He pioneered intraocular lens implantation surgical IOL eye campus in rural areas and established a world record at a camp at SDI Hospital, Hyderabad, where 324 eye surgeries were performed in a single day. The event was acknowledged by the Guinness Book of World Records. He organizes hundreds of awareness programs to benefit thousands of people. Mr. Raju is a founder and trustee of Dr. K.V. Reddy Memorial Lions Eye Hospital and the trustee of many other charity establishments. He has received the much coveted International President's Leadership Award thrice. He received an all-paid invitation to the 92nd Lions International Convention in Minneapolis, USA. In recognition of his contribution to leadership and growth, he personally donated $5,000 to the cause of combating blindness and has been nominated a Progressive Melvin Jones Fellow. He made innovative efforts to make learning an interesting and enjoyable experience for his students. One more side I want to say, he made innovative efforts to make learning an interesting and enjoyable experience for his students. Now he will make us more interesting and enjoyable with us, his experiences. These moments are very blissful for us to have his presence. And one more thing I want to say about nagaRAJU sir is, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. This gigantic leading lion leader is in front of us. This gigantic leading lion leader is in front of us. Sir, we are very happy and very much in high spirits to have you. Once again, I only can say we are very fortunate for his acceptance. nagaRAJU sir, I welcome you with immense delight. Please continue the session, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Bhavani, for that wonderful introduction. Just give me a moment to share my screen. Yes. Subbu, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, sir.
Am I also audible?
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. Thank you once again, all of you, for this great opportunity that you have given me this evening to talk to you, to share some of my thoughts with you, and also perhaps learn from you. And I must at the beginning heartily congratulate and thank Dr. Bhavani for taking this initiative. And there are quite a few unique things today. One of them is it's very rarely that managements extend hearty invitations to resource persons. I received a personal letter from the director, Dr. Bhavani, or Dr. Meenakshi, and I felt so very happy because it does not usually happen. It's a principal, it's a department of English, it's the organizer that usually write you, but here the director herself took the initiative and wrote to me. And more importantly, not only writing, but she gave a very specific mention of what is expecting out of this, the outcomes expected, the objectives for a program like this. That, I mean, made me really very happy. Thank you, Meenakshi. And the second thing, I've been told that this is a mixed group of students and teachers. I don't know how or why it's made like this. It's a tough task for me because I don't know where to pitch my presentation. It seems there are quite a lot of students here. It may not be extremely very relevant to you, but still I'll try to make it useful to both students and teachers because it's a mixed group and this kind of problems often arise. Okay, let's move on. So the topic today is blended learning. I think you have an idea what blended learning is. Even if you do not have an idea, I think the name is self-explanatory. Anybody who knows the word blended also can guess what is blended learning. It's known by different other names as well. And the most popular other names are hybrid learning, a combination of more than one thing, and flexible learning, mixed mode learning, and many, many, many other names. So just to see what exactly it is a combination. It is a merger, a beautiful blend, a wise blend of at least two things, right? Perhaps you can see this picture on the left side, a regular classroom. And on the right side, within this circle, you can see this computer, mobile, and online, and so many other things, technology. So perhaps a wonderful, judicious combination of the two is what is going to be looked at. And then that's what we are going to consider and discuss today. And that's what we call blended learning. Blended learning also is known as B learning. That's why I've chosen that nomenclature today, small b and capital E, because e-learning, digital learning, and B learning are very popular today, and we'll go into the details. My presentation is going to be like this, very broadly. These are the components of my presentation. I'll briefly talk to you about what is this, and then why blended learning, what are the basic concepts of B learning, and most importantly, my focus will be on the fourth one, how to blend, in case I decide to blend, how to blend and what to blend. And finally, maybe I'll spend 5 minutes on what are some important challenges that we may face in implementing the B learning format and what are some possible solutions to that. This is the structure of my presentation. Let's begin by taking a very quick look at what's blended learning. This is what it is. There are some 3 or 4 words that I need to explain to you to make it clear to you what exactly I mean when I call it blended learning or people call it blended learning. I use the word deliberate and effective integration. So there are 2 conditions there. It's not just blending them. It's not just putting them together forcibly, but it is an effective integration. It must yield us some better results than what we are getting today because we are blending. And also it is a deliberate effort. It does not happen. It happens because of an effort on the part of academicians, policymakers, managements, teachers, students, and everybody involved. So it's a deliberate effort and it's an effective integration of basically two things. What are the two things? One is a face-to-face learning. That's what happens in the regular brick and mortar classroom. When you sit in the four walls of a classroom, what happens? Face-to-face. The teacher and the students. They sit or stand or whatever together, and then they learn. The teacher teaches and the students learn. Everything happens within that classroom. That's face-to-face. And that's what I think all of us have been doing for ages. We know what that is. And the second one, maybe in the last 1 century or so, online learning has become very popular. Online learning is learning that happens while you use an online technology. Somebody teaches from somewhere, some technology is used, and we learn through that. That's online. But now the new concept is blending the two. So there is physical classroom, there is online learning, and both of them are beautifully amalgamated, lovely, merged. So this merger makes it blended, hybrid, or whatever. And this hybrid, why is it done? To instigate, to motivate, and also to support learning. It's not just done like that because it's available. Many people tell me, sir, because of the COVID situation, is it necessary that we should go in for blended learning? No. So it's not the COVID situation that directs it, but it is some greater objectives of the teaching learning process. COVID learning has made online learning popular. COVID situation, the lockdown, has given way to online learning. Online learning and blended learning are not the same. Please remember that. Okay, I request all of you to please mute yourselves. Right. Okay, so online learning is different, blended learning is different. Don't mistake them. For instance, what's happening now? I am talking to you from a distance. I'm sitting in front of a camera and speaking to you, and you're all listening to me. This is not blended learning. This is online learning. So blended learning is one form of learning. Learning and blended learning are not different. So it's one form of learning. But how does it happen? It happens with a combination of the two of them, face-to-face and online. Please understand this concept very carefully, because I think I speak to many teachers all over wherever I go. People mistake online learning for blended learning. No. Okay, this is a regular classroom on the left side and technology on the right side. Let's see what happens. So classroom, the physical classroom has some advantages, as you can see. What are the advantages? So physical classroom allows a lot of personalization. Teacher pays a lot of attention to the students, personal attention. Teacher can motivate the students. Feedback can be given both by the students to the teacher and the teacher to the students. Relevance, the content and the methodology can be made relevant, suiting the needs of the students and the teachers in the course and the content and the methodology or whatever. Discipline can be enforced. A regular path can be set, and everybody will take the same path, the same course, the same time, a structure, etc., etc. Soft skills can be built because students learn from students, students interact with others. It's not only the subjects that they are learning, but soft skills can be learned. And peer learning happens. All these are the advantages of the physical classroom. But on the other side, there is this online learning, which also offers us some advantages. There is a lot of mobility about that. The student can be anywhere, the teacher can be anywhere, and you can learn from anywhere. You need not strictly sit down in a fixed place. And it can be beautifully structured. Tracking is possible and is easy. So how much progress a student has made? How many courses has he taken? What scores has he achieved? How much progress has he made? It becomes all the more easier. We'll go into that a little later. Then economy. So one teacher can teach hundreds of students. Right now, I don't know how many hundreds of students are here. I think we are reaching all of them wherever you are. Then self-study is possible. The student can go at his own pace, etc. And global reach. These are some advantages on the right side. So classroom situation, the traditional face-to-face brick and mortar classroom situation had some advantages. and the online system, the technology, which allows us a lot of felicity with comfort with using that, also had several advantages. Now consider this. Suppose I can take some advantages from here and some advantages from here and put all of them together and offer it to my students. How wonderful that would be. The best of the two worlds. So the best from here and the best from here together become the best of the both worlds. That's what exactly happens in blended learning. So a little from here, a little from here together becomes the best, and naturally that's what blended learning is, and that's why it's becoming so very popular. Okay, so there is one kind of, not only the classroom and the online thing, there is a second factor to it. When we blend, there is a second factor. What is the second factor? Some learning happens synchronously. Synchronous means at the same time. Some learning happens asynchronously. Asynchronously means not at the same time. Asynchronous, synchronous, these are the two ways learning happens, two different ways in which learning happens. Synchronous again is of two kinds. The students and the teacher are in the same place and learning is happening at the same time, like in a regular classroom. You are all degree teachers, I think, and you go to a class and some 50 students are there in your class. The 50 teachers and the 50 students and the one teacher, the 51 of you are in the classroom and learning is happening, teaching is happening at the same time, right? 8 o'clock to 8:30 is your class, and then you teach, then the students learn. That's the same time, same place. Physical classroom situation where same time, same class, learning is happening. That's synchronous learning. Within synchronous form, there is a second format. The second format, same time, but different places. Exactly what's happening now on Zoom. I'm sitting in my house, you are sitting in your house, but the time is the same. So I'm speaking to you at 5:30 and you're all listening to me at 5:30. Teaching is happening, listening is happening, time is same, but place is different. This also is called synchronous because we are talking about time, not the place here. Right? On the other hand, there is an asynchronous learning where the time is different and place is different. Can you think of an example? Suppose I create a short video lecture, a 2-minute, 5-minute to half an hour video lecture, and I send it to you, all of you. What happens? Will you all listen to it at the same time? And will you all watch it at the same place? So neither the place is the same, nor the time is the same. So different times, different places, you're all listening to me on that video. So I created a video and sent it to you, right? You are using it at your pace, at your place, right? And that is asynchronous. Now, blended learning is a combination of the two. So blended learning has some component that is synchronous. That means students come to the class or sit somewhere, but they're all learning together at the same time, part of the course material, and a part of it is happening asynchronously. Maybe a video lesson or some other kinds of learning that are possible. I'll come to some examples a little later. So we have seen two concepts. One, blending the classroom structure with the online format. That's one blending. And two, the synchronous format with the asynchronous format. So this blending also is possible. Okay, let's move on. So the combination of these two is blended. Perfect. We'll move on. The second concept that I wanted to discuss with you. Why should we do this? Are we not happy with what we are doing? Are we not content with the success that we've been achieving? I am teaching, my students are following, my students are getting good scores, good marks, etc., etc. And that's why should I change? Why should I think somebody is using this? I'll disable this. Give me a moment, please. Right. I think somebody is misusing this. Okay, I'll also erase this. 1 second, please. Right, let's move on. So please don't write anything on the screen and disturb others. That's a kind of a distraction to others. Right, of course, there are bound to be some mischievous students in any class, and maybe there is one in this class also. That's good, that's fine, okay. Right, move on. So why blended learning? What is this? What is this we have seen? And we are going to see why is this? Right. I think I've requested Subbu to, Subbu, will you help me or can I do it myself? I'll do it. I have a poll for you. What I'll do is I'll launch the poll. You have to give your answers here. I'm going to ask a very simple question. What is the question? You can see the question before you vote. What is the question? Teachers often complain, right? Any teacher at any level, graduate, postgraduate, school, wherever, teachers often have lots of complaints. In your case, what is the general complaint? I need more time to finish my syllabus. This is one complaint that I hear wherever I go. So time is not enough. And some teachers say, oh, my students are very differently able, sir. Their skill levels are different. Their backgrounds are different. Their expectations are different. Their backgrounds are different. And that's my problem. And some of the teachers tell me, my students are too very low in their abilities, in their skills. And that's why I can't do anything. Many of you are an English teacher. Many English teachers complain to me, sir, my students cannot speak even one good sentence in English. Right? And often made complaint. And this is a very, very serious complaint many teachers make. My students do not come, sir. They don't come to class. How can I do it? How can I achieve anything? So these are the typical complaints. In your case, in your personal case, what are the complaints that you have? You can choose any number of complaints that you have. I'm launching the poll. Please choose your answers. I think the 4 answers are there on the screen for you now. You see the answers, I think. You choose any one of them or some of them. Good, good, good. I think polling has begun. Wonderful. You can choose multiple answers also. Fine. I'll stop the poll in the next 10 seconds. I think those who are watching it on YouTube perhaps cannot participate. I'm not very sure. But I think you can see the screen. Okay, I'm stopping the poll now. I think quite a few of you have already voted. I'm showing the results to you. So this is what you've told me. So what have you told me? So there are 29% of you who said that they need more time. 40% of you say that the student skill levels are very, very diverse. And 18% of you have said that students are too very low in their abilities and skills. And some 24% of you have said that students do not attend classes regularly. And that's why you have a problem in your class. I'm stopping this. I'm stopping sharing this. Right. Close this. Right. Coming back to this. So these are the answers that you've given me. Now, if these are the problems, there must be a solution because every problem has a solution. Right? There must be some system that helps us overcome these problems. There must be something, some way which is likely to be more efficient, more effective, more rewarding than the one that I'm using. What is that? That's what blended learning is. And let me just take a closer look at it. So when students are different learning styles, somebody learns visually, somebody learns auditory, somebody is a kinesthetic learner, and unless he feels and touches something, he cannot learn. And there are all kinds of, I think there are about 12 different kinds of learners. So there are lots of learning styles. Learning preferences, somebody likes to sit at home and learn, somebody likes to go to school and learn, somebody likes to put pen to paper and write, and then that's how he wants to learn. So again, various preferences. Then there are various backgrounds from which they come, students come, right? All kinds of backgrounds. and different kinds of learning opportunities are there for them. All these things are the problems. Now, because the learning problems are different, the learning solutions, teaching solutions also must be different, very obvious. If I have 10 problems, it's difficult to find one solution. But 10 solutions is not difficult to find. So solution-based, problem-based solutions that work against particular problems are what we are looking for. Blended, the name indicates that it's a combination of many things into one. So it's something like a broad spectrum antibiotic, right? It's not working against just one disease, and sometimes we do not even know what disease before it's diagnosed. Doctors typically advise some broad spectrum antibiotics. It's like that. So it is something, this blended learning, it's something that helps us resolve many problems at one go. Let's see more about it. So what are at least 4 things that it can help us with? Blended learning can certainly help improve our outcomes. Students' pass rates, student engagement, how well they are engaged in the process of learning, achievement levels are, because I'm not saying this, research has said this. Wherever blended learning has been implemented, research has told us that outcomes are bound to improve. Then, strategic use of the class time, how much sitting time students have in your class. If I have a 50-minute lecture, I cannot multiply that 50 minutes whatever I do. Of course, there are very, very intelligent techniques of multiplying that time even in a physical classroom. I think you know some of them. If there are any English teachers and those who know the communicative methods of teaching, where small groups are engaged, where you have pair work, group work, etc. So classroom time can be multiplied using those techniques. But because we are using both face-to-face format and online format, we are multiplying the time available to us, and it helps us both do deeper analysis in the physical classroom and give a broader perspective to what they are learning outside the classroom. Then, blended learning offers us a third advantage, various styles of learning. I just made a mention of that. So there are various styles of learning, and it meets many of them or almost all of them, because education, learning can happen in many different ways here, unlike in the classroom. Then opportunity is multiplied. So students have their own pace, their own place, their own pace, right? And at whatever path they would like to take, it's possible, right? So these are some of the advantages, and this is not a comprehensive list of the advantages, but some advantages that blended learning offers us. Let's quickly move on to the basic concepts of blended learning. So I have one more poll for you. I'll show you the poll a little later. Let me explain the question to you. See, blended learning, as I told you already in the beginning of my session today, that is the new norm, right? Is the new technology, the new method that's available to all of us now. It's becoming popular all over. Maybe the COVID situation and the lockdown across the globe has perhaps made it a little faster. Perhaps it was waiting at the door already. It was knocking at the door. We were about to open the door. At that time, this lockdown happened, and naturally it entered. Even otherwise also, maybe within a week, within a month, within a year, it was bound to come. This was the order of the day. This was the newest and most effective technology, and research has given us findings that it's one of the best possible approaches to education, and that's why it would have come today or tomorrow. Now, about the future. Look at yourself as a teacher, or even if you are a student sitting here, perhaps it's okay. Think of blended learning as the future technology. Where do you think blended learning will be tomorrow? What do you think is its future? Do you think it will be like any other passing phase? It also will be one passing phase and it will be forgotten? Or will it stay beyond the lockdown? Lockdown will perhaps be over in another 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 1 year. We don't know. So maybe after that, it will go away. Or will gradually gain strength and become further stronger and will be the only or the most popular mode of education in the days and years to come. I am launching the poll again for you. You can make one choice, not both. This is over. I'm going to the second poll, right? I'm launching the poll. Yeah, you have 4 answers there. You can choose one of the answers and you can tell me what you expect is going to happen. Thank you. Thank you. Good participation. Wow. More than half of you have already voted. Again, I'm sorry, perhaps those who are on the YouTube channel are not able to participate in that. Maybe perhaps you can see the screen, I think. Okay, I'm ending the poll in the next 5 seconds. Let me end it now. Okay, I've stopped it. Good, I'm very happy. So 53% plus 35%, that is almost 88% of you say that it is going to be the only way available to us very soon. Some of you feel that it's gradually happening. Some of you think that it is the most popular thing. And I think there are hardly a few of you who believe that it's just going to disappear soon. Maybe personally, I don't agree with them, but I think it's going to be the most popular mode of classroom communication, teaching, learning process that's going to happen very soon. Let me share the results with you, right? These are the results. I think you can see them now. 53% said it will gradually grow, and 35% of you said that that will be the most popular mode of classroom and online teaching and learning process. So I'm stopping here, showing the results. Right, I'm closing it now. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Let's move on. Okay, this is the picture. I mean, this is my visualization of it. So I think the past, it just began. Today, blended learning is really booming all across the world, the entire globe. Because, I mean, if we get figures from WHO or any other agency that's engaged in fighting corona, they all have told us that there is no country, there is no university, there is no school, no place not affected by either a lockdown or this pandemic, right? So the whole world is affected, entire globe, no exceptions. Somebody told me that 99.2% of the students across the world are affected. I don't know if those figures are reliable, but I think it may be true, right? I think because I don't see any country where schools are working now. I was speaking to Amitha, Ruth, yesterday. She told me that even in America, schools and universities are closed. And we know that in other countries, the situation is the same, right? So that is one perspective, of course. So the present, it's booming because that's one wonderful technique that's available. But the future, the blending is going to be the best form of education that's going to happen. Okay, let's quickly take a look at what variables decide the right blend. Suppose, okay, I decide to blend. How do I blend? What do I blend? Suppose I say, okay, 1% of classroom education and 99% of online education is my combination. Is that okay? I don't know, maybe that's okay to some. It depends. So there must be some factors that help us decide how and how much to combine. How much of this, how much of that. How much of synchronous, how much of asynchronous. How much of classroom, how much of online. If it's online, how much of this methodology, how much of this methodology. Right? How much same time, how much at different times. So these are things that need to be decided on the basis of some factors. To help you find that out, I have already shared one handout with you. I think it's in the chat box. If you go to the chat box, you can find a Word file. In fact, it was sent to you in the morning also, but I realized that because it came to you in the form of a telegram post, I did not receive any responses from anybody. There was also an assignment to that. That is one more factor I would like to discuss actually. So whenever an assignment is given, so even in a teacher's class like this, assignments are not usually responded to. So when I sent an assignment to maybe 200, 300, 500 people here, so how many responses I've got? Not even one. The same thing is likely to happen to you when you go to a class, right? So we don't expect instant responses from our students. So there must be a technique. So what have I done today? So I sent you the handout to help you understand what blended learning is. I told you I am talking to you now on camera, and this is synchronous, and this is online learning. Right? This is not blended learning. To make it blended learning, what did I do? I sent you a handout in the morning, thinking that at least some of you would read that handout, the 5 points that I made a mention of there, and I thought you would come prepared. That kind of a class is called a flipped class. When students read the text before, come with questions, come with doubts, and a detailed discussion is made in the classroom with the teacher, and we are flipping the class. Flipped class is one kind of blended learning. Flipped learning is blended learning, is one form of it, right? So coming back to this, what variables decide the right blend? So I think maybe you can take a second. I think all of you know how to use the chat box. There are 2 features for you. One is your reactions. One is your chat box. In the chat box, what you can do is you can just type your answer. What things, what factors decide how to blend, how much to blend? You can write your answer there. I can see them here. I mean, those who are on YouTube also can type your answer there. Somebody will read them out for me. Will you please do that? Can I get some answers? I think I've started getting some responses. Number of students, technology. Mr. Gopi Krishna said technology is a factor. Mr. Ahmed Ali says number of students, and Mr. Tejasvi, Miss Tejasvi says a pass percentage of the students. Nasreen says topic and facilities. And there are answers from Kartiga. She says feasibility of technology. Ahmed says access to technology. And Konduri, yes, says smart and innovative technology, technical. I think there are too many answers. I cannot read all of them. Anyway, I'm happy that you all have contributed. Thank you very much. Right? Thanks a lot. Okay, these are all factors. I'll give you a list of the factors that make. I think I'm very happy that you're participating in it. Now the class becomes two-sided. You can also, there is a tool to raise your hand. There is a tool to give a thumbs up. In case you like a point that I make, you can give me a thumbs up. I mean, give the point a thumbs up. Or if you like my presentation, you can give me a thumbs up anytime. So there are tools available for that also. You must know how to use this technology, right? So what variable decide that? Oh, already Suhasini has given me, I think she has raised her hand, I think. I'm sorry, I cannot stop now, so because somebody has to read the questions for me. Maybe that will happen later, maybe after I finish. So please, you can raise a hand, but maybe your questions will be taken at the end of the presentation. Right. So these are some factors that help us decide. What are the factors? One is, what are the objectives of your course? Depending on the objectives of the course, we begin combining. It's not just random, haphazard, right? Unmethodical. It's not unscientific. That merger, that blending must be a very highly methodical affair with a purpose, right? It's a deliberate and scientific way of merging the two things. So course objectives decide how much to blend, what time to blend, what kind to blend, etc. Then the course content, some of you have already said that. Content, what topic are you teaching? Maybe if you are teaching history, one kind of blending perhaps is better than the other. And if you are teaching physics, maybe a different kind of a blending perhaps is better for you. So depending on the content, within English, perhaps you're all English teachers, I don't know. If you are English teachers within English, how do you teach poetry? How do you teach an essay? How do you teach grammar? Maybe different components of what you teach need different treatments to it. Then most importantly, I think all of you said that already, learner profiles. What kind of students do you have in your class? What are their competencies? What are their needs? What are their learning styles? Where are they? What are their backgrounds? What are their attitudes? Depending on that, you need to blend. This is, I mean, a very, very tough looking job, but it's a very highly effective job. If you do some kind of a survey and if you know why you are blending and if you give a thought to it and perhaps adopt an appropriate style, an appropriate mode and percentage of blending, perhaps it works better. Then teacher competencies. I think I would like to speak for 1 or 2 minutes on this. Usually, typically, I don't know about other countries, but at least in India, what happens is whenever a new book is introduced, whenever a new technology is adopted, whenever something new happens, teachers are not trained at all. So the textbook is thrust at them and they're asked to teach that text, new text. I mean, without training, what will teachers do? They will just again go back to the same method. Again, they take that chalk and duster and all that, and then they give a lecture and go away. So teacher training is an extremely important component which has been neglected. I don't know why. Very little emphasis on that. Right? In schools, at least, there is something called a B.Ed. But in colleges, it's not like that. Anybody who finishes university, one who finishes M.A. can become a lecturer immediately the next day. And what will they know about teaching technologies? What will they know about any methodologies? What will they know how to handle classroom situations? How to manage a class? They don't know. And that's why, I mean, the system fails. Now, at least in the case of blended learning, before we begin introducing it, I think we must have plenty of training, abundance of training opportunities for teachers. Important. Even this online learning also is failing for that only. I know, at least in places where I have seen, governments have said, okay, because you are on a vacation, because schools are closed, go and teach them online. What will they don't even know how to create a Zoom account. What will they do? Many teachers do not know still. Already 3-4 months we've been into this lockdown and still teachers do not know how to create a Zoom account, how to use some free opportunity platform that's available or whatever, and they don't know how to host a lesson, etc. So if that is the situation, blaming teachers again is wrong. Right? Teacher competencies need to be built, and based on teacher competencies, we have to merge appropriately. So are my teachers capable of doing this? Based on that, I must ask them to go to online teaching or blended learning or whatever. Then what are the resources available? This is again something very serious because maybe students do not have access to technology, students do not have access to internet, all students may not have smartphones and lots of other issues. So depending on all these factors, we have to decide what kind of blending works, how much of what should be blended, right? I think this is again another important thing that you need to keep in mind when you think of blending. Blending should be based on some concept of elasticity. There are 3 things that need to be considered. One is the learning environment. The second is the media that's available and are being used. And the third is the methodology that you are using. Suppose you adopt this blended learning or you are using online learning. Again, you just go stand in front of a camera and give a lecture. What's the use? There's no difference between the classroom and online learning. What happens in the classroom, instead of happening in the classroom, is happening in front of a camera. That was a lecture. This is a lecture. At least that was better because the teacher had eye contact with the students and she knew what exactly was happening inside the class. Now even that's not available. Every student can switch off one's camera like many of you are doing now. So you can switch off your cameras. I don't even know where you are, what you're doing, whether you are sleeping or listening or whatever is happening. So it fails in case we continue doing it like this without knowing how to use that technology, how to effectively manage the situation, the classroom situation. It is bound to fail. So there must be a lot of elasticity. So how much of what? How much of classroom? Do my students or are my students prepared for this format of learning? Based on that, I decide. Am I prepared for this format? Based on that, I decide. Is this technology available to me? Is this technology available to my students? Etc. 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 So on all these factors, we decide on why to blend, etc. the basics. Then the most important part of the presentation today, it's about, what time is it? It's 6 o'clock. I think I have another maybe 20 minutes. Okay. How to blend. Right. So how to blend is an important thing that needs to be decided. So one suggestion that I give is every teacher, irrespective of what subject you are teaching at what level, irrespective of the level, irrespective of the subject, irrespective of, your experience, whether you are a very young teacher or a senior teacher. Don't say, oh, I am 30 years into teaching and how can I move to a new technology today? No. In case we do not adopt new technology, in case we don't upskill ourselves, in case we don't update ourselves, we are obsolete, we are gone. I retired from government service 8 years ago. I am 67 years old now. I am doing these online webinars. I'm just giving you an example, that's all. Right. So somebody asked me, sir, what happens to teachers who don't learn new technologies? Will they lose their jobs? My answer, I think I gave this answer in many webinars which I've attended. Technology does not replace teachers. It's because of new technology, teachers don't lose jobs. But a technology savvy person will substitute you tomorrow in case you don't update yourself. Right? You don't lose your job because there is technology available. But what will happen? There will be somebody who is more technology savvy, right? He or she comes and then you lose your job because of that person. If you update yourself, if you upskill yourself, you're absolutely safe. Even a private management, government management, whatever, aided, unaided, all kinds of colleges are there. I don't know how it's in the state where you are working, but whatever be the kind of structure that's there, I think people are from different states. So whatever be that structure, your jobs are safe if you constantly upskill yourself. Remember this is very important. I think the most important thrust, focus point that I would like to make today. So if you upskill yourself constantly, your job is safe, your job satisfaction is full, right? You are relevant to what you are doing and everything positive. Okay, so every teacher, irrespective of the subject or the level, must know what is an LMS, a learning management system. There are many, many different learning management systems available, and you need to be competent, proficient in using at least one of them that suits your need. In the next slide, I'll introduce you to one or two of them. So what does a learning management system do? What you physically do, the LMS will do more efficiently. For instance, you have a lesson plan, you have a structure, you have an annual plan, and you have assessment. You record the marks of the students, you record the attendance of the students, you send them notices, and then you receive their replies, etc., etc. So many things happen in a real class, physical class. All that can be done online very easily and much more efficiently, much more effectively, much more productively, and much more faster within a matter of seconds. I'll just give you one simple example. Suppose your students write an examination. How long do you take to evaluate the papers and give them responses and all that? Sometimes it takes months, I remember. Even universities, they don't publish results because papers are not valued. Suppose you have a system that evaluates the papers instantly, and the moment you finish the exam, your score is there. how convenient that would be. Just yesterday, I mean, a few hours ago, maybe exactly about 20 hours ago, I conducted an online quiz for English lecturers. I've been running a WhatsApp group for the last 5 years with about 250 English lecturer members, and I conducted a quiz, right? And I think the quiz started at 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30, 7:40 onwards, responses started coming. The moment the first response came, already the score was known to her. And a few of them sent me personal messages. Sir, this is my score. I'm so happy. Sir, I missed one question. So it was so very thrilling. And if this is the kind of thrill that teachers experience, you can imagine what happens to students, right? So LMS has that advantage. So it helps you organize things, put all your teaching, learning areas, things into one place, and it helps you take an overview of the scores. I mean, why do you need to take a look at the scores? Many teachers tell me that they conduct examinations to know their students' performance, their students' level, how much have they learned. I think examinations do not serve that purpose alone. Examinations must serve much bigger purpose. It's not just to know how the student has failed. It is to know how you have failed, how I have failed. So when I conduct an examination, the examination results must tell me how I am teaching, how effectively I am teaching. Have I failed or passed? Not my students. If suppose I have 50 students in my class and 40 students have failed, who failed? Is it the students? No, most likely I failed. And most likely the syllabus has failed, the examination system has failed, something else has failed, not the students. So there is something to learn from every examination that you hold. So if a teacher tells me, oh, I have conducted an examination, I know the results now. 2 students have scored this much, 5 students have scored this much. That's useless information as far as your role as a teacher is concerned. That is perhaps for the student, that's good. The student knows it. But as a teacher, every evaluation, every examination, every assessment, every single small test that you hold inside your class or outside your class or wherever must give you continuous washback. Right? It must help you become a better teacher. It must help you build a better lesson plan. It must help you build a better course structure. If you contribute your findings to the boards of universities, perhaps they will reframe the syllabus. And I mean, we will have better methodologies adopted, better course materials available, etc., etc., etc. And for all this, LMSs help us, I mean, do things faster, more accurately, and better. So I'm introducing you to just 4 of them. Actually, there are 100 of them in the market. I'm just giving you 4 of them, which I have used and I found very, very useful. I mean, I think most of them have free versions and you can try them and you can begin using them. The most important, the most popular, and I have been using for almost 10 years is Edmodo. So go to Edmodo, go to Google and search for Edmodo and it takes you there, create an account for yourself, and all that learning management can happen on this. Creating lessons to assessment, right? Moodle is another very, very, very powerful, extremely well built and useful, right? The free version is there and paid versions are there. Blackboard is another. Google Classroom is one. So all these are there. You use whichever is useful to you, or if your management has already bought a license for any one of them, I think you are lucky, and start using that and then make the most of it. Then every teacher must be comfortable using at least one of these online conference tools. Today, we are using Zoom. I think all of you know how to use that. Some of you, that's one of the reasons why I asked you to chat there. So there is a chat function. For instance, you are teaching on Zoom and your students must know how to ask a question, how to raise a hand, how to chat with you, how to seek a clarification, right? How to download a handout that you would like to give to your students. Now it's available to you. You can download it, keep it on your desktop and read it, and that's good, right? Use it. How to use, I mean, the tools that are available. Lots of tools are available. Annotation tools. If I want, I can also draw on the screen while I'm speaking to you. Somebody tried that at the beginning. I'm sharing my slides, right? Zoom and all these technologies allow you to share your screen. I am showing my screen to every one of you. Maybe one of you is in Ramachandrapuram, which is perhaps 1,000 kilometers away from where I am, but you are able to see my screen. Not only me on the video, but you are seeing my PowerPoint slideshow. So there are tools available on these conference tools, online conference tools. Teachers must be comfortable with one or few of them, preferably one that's popular in your college or that your college has already bought a license for, and maybe something that you are comfortable with. Okay, you need to create your own lessons on that. Then the third thing, I'll just show you this video. It's 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Please watch this. I'll tell you what it is.
Screencastify is a really simple way to record screencasts from right within your Chrome browser. Once you've installed our extension, click our icon and choose whether you want to record your browser tab, entire desktop, or just your webcam. Turn on your microphone if you want to narrate over your recording, and choose if you want to embed your webcam to add a personal touch. Once you're ready, click record and lights, camera, action. Spice up your screencast with our annotation tools. For example, shine a spotlight on your mouse to direct your viewer's eye, or draw on your recording with our pen tool. You can toggle your webcam on and off during a recording and change the location, size, and shape of your webcam. Once you're finished, click our icon again and click the stop button. Your video will automatically save to your Google Drive. Then, you can rename your recording and share it either by grabbing the Google Drive link or by publishing your video directly to YouTube. Our premium subscribers can crop and trim their videos, as well as export them as an MP4 or...
Okay, I'll stop there. Maybe the rest of it is perhaps is not really very important to you. What I'm telling you is that this is the free version of it that I have used. How easy it is for you to create your own video lessons and publish them. I think every teacher must try something like this today itself. If this webinar closes today at about 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, whenever, don't go to bed tonight without creating at least a 1-minute video lesson. You just take your own camera and then you just go into selfie mode, video mode, and then you just talk about something that you know. And then, I mean, it's going to be in your own personal drive. You're not going to show it to anybody, but just experiment. Screencastify. You can make a screenshot of this and I mean, you can try it. Another one.
Screencastify is a really simple way to record Castify.
Okay. The other one at the bottom, you can see screencastomatic.com. Similar, very similar. Both of them are good, and you can use both of them to either create your video lessons or use video lessons are already available. Lots of resources are there. Go to YouTube, go to TED, go to any place. I think you find hundreds and thousands of video lessons already available. The best of the teachers in the world are all helping us. They are posting their lessons online in the open domain, and you can, many of them you can use without any copyrights and copyright issues. And then I think some of them are copyrighted, be careful, and others you can use them, and you can have your own video added to that or your own voice added to that, and you can do lots of kind of gimmicks to make your lessons very impressive. So try any one of these. Okay. There are others also, a puzzle, TechSmith, etc., explaineverything.com, play soft, but maybe keep some of these things effective. Choose short videos when you want to show videos to a student. I showed you a 2-minute video. I think 2 minutes was very long actually. So if you can choose 1-minute videos and shorter videos, they will hold the attention of the students easier, right? and choose good ones because there are plenty available. I wish I had time to show some of them to you. Right. So when you are doing this online assessment, as far as possible, see, I mean, I don't want to go into assessment today because that's a different topic altogether. It needs a whole lot of time. See that your assessment has flexibility and a variety of assignments are given because you are using blending learning now. So what is possible in the physical classroom and what is possible online are different. So have a combination of them, right? And make your assessment as authentic as possible. Again, I wish I had time to demonstrate some assessment online technologies that are freely available to us. Or maybe you can copy this and then try it later. I think I'm running short of time. 477310 is the key to enter myquiz.org. I've already created a quiz for today. There are just 5 questions, and I'm sure, because that is synchronous, I don't know if you can, maybe because you will go home at about 8:30. What I'll do is I'll change the time to open at 9 o'clock, sharp 9 o'clock today. All of you can log in and take that. I mean, 1 minute test. It takes you 1 minute to do that. That's 1 or 2 minutes to do that. But all of you must certainly log in before 9 o'clock and wait for that. I'll keep it ready for you. And similarly, on the right side, there is Edpuzzle. There is no time limit for that. I've already opened it for you. And the password is PIFIGRU. So I have shown you how you can create your own video lessons using the audio add-ons, the video add-ons, the poll, etc., etc. I have used my own lesson. Some lesson that I recently made at a webinar, I used that. It's a 2-minute video, but I've just created a lesson to help you understand how it works. So please take a screenshot of this and try it today or tomorrow. The first left one, today itself. Then finally, coming to some challenges and some possible solutions. Just see one more video. It's again just 2 minutes. The challenges of...
In a traditional classroom, the approach is generally time-based, meaning the whole class moves at the same pace. All students get the same lesson on the same day and are tested on that material at the same time. And then they all move on to the next topic regardless of their individual exam performance or if they have gaps in their knowledge. Blended classrooms are flexible enough to allow the use of a mastery-based model, which acknowledges that not all students are going to get the material at the same time. Some students might need more time to understand a topic, while at other times those same students will speed ahead. By giving students as much time as they need on a topic and letting them decide when they're ready to be tested, blended classes can help to ensure that students move forward only when they've shown that they can apply what they've learned with confidence. Blended learning, though, like any teaching approach, brings with it some important challenges. Because this approach depends on technical resources, they have to be affordable, reliable, and easy to use for both the students and the teachers. Oftentimes, there's also a learning curve that has to be navigated, especially for those that have never used technology in the classroom. Another challenge is making sure that the materials are being reliably and independently consumed by the students, and they're coming to class prepared. This can be incentivized by closely tying in-class work assignments to the content that's being delivered online, and can often be tracked with learning platforms. Finally, one of the biggest challenges to blended learning is that it really changes the role of the teacher to that of a coach, and puts students in the driver's seat of their own learning, teaching them how to think as well as what to learn. This shift is an important one, and requires buy-in from both the teacher and the student to be successful. When it's done right, though, blended learning can lead to a much more enjoyable and effective learning experience for both parties.
Thank you. So that is a list of some of the challenges that you may face. Be prepared for them, and some solutions have already been given, but I'll just close by talking to you about a few other challenges like policy decisions, training for teachers, which I already talked to you about. Maybe sometimes you need to reschedule the course, not forcibly, but because you would like to use the concept of blended learning, how would you like to reschedule it, and how you infuse technology into the whole process of teaching learning situations, and how comfortable you are using technology, what technology, how much. So these are things that you need to consider. And this is another challenge, availability of technology. And these are some of the things that you need to consider. I mean, they may pose some problems, but nothing comes without any problems. Any new technology is going to throw problems at us, and we have to accept those challenges, overcome those challenges, and find our own solutions for them. And because there are so many advantages, if there are a few problems, we need to take care of them and ensure that it works for us, right? And this is where perhaps I'll stop, and thank you very much for this great, wonderful opportunity that you've given me. I'm sure some of you have already created some video lessons, have given some online lessons, have tried blended learning. In case you've already done that, I request you to just go to the chat box and please mention there how many video lessons have you already created. If you have created video lessons, how many video lessons? I think two participants have raised hand. I'll come to them very soon. But my question is, how many video lessons have you already created? How many TV lessons, at least TV lessons? TV lessons are again synchronous, right? They are not blended learning, but they can built into blended learning. They can be used as components of blended learning. Is there anyone who is responding? Maybe there are not many people here who have created your own video lessons, but I think you must start immediately. As I told you today itself, please don't sleep today without creating at least one short video lesson of whatever subject you teach. Okay, now questions. Over to Bhavani or somebody who is taking care of the...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So question and answer session starts for us. Any questions? The path how to be impressive teacher. Thank you, sir. I think no any questions, sir, but only I want to request one thing, you, sir. You said the blended learning is very nice for all of us, the teaching community. And other thing is the teachers who are teaching in either colleges or whatever the level it is, they don't have the comfortable instruments. They cannot get effort to that. One thing, just I'm telling you, sir, I'm sharing that, sir. And the next thing is,
I understand. Let me answer the first question first. I have already answered that question. Blending depends upon considering what technology is available with me. I am not trying to think of something that's not available. For instance, is there a teacher who does not have a mobile phone, a smartphone? Every teacher has. So how long does it take to create? Just maybe shoot yourself for 5 minutes and then something that you want to teach and send it to all WhatsApp groups that you have created for your students. How long will it take? It won't take much time. So begin doing it. That's what I want.
And one more thing, sir, you could instead, you could insist the government to have some training, sir. For the college teachers.
Yeah.
You are a leader of the teaching community. You should lead us to have some training.
I've already taken the initiative, but governments play a very small role in that. Governments cannot give a laptop to everybody. They have given, of course, in triple ITs and other places have seen every student has got a laptop free, and then they are doing excellent work there. But instead of demanding something that's not available, let's begin with something that's already available. Let's show success. Yes, I have done this. Sir, with the limited technology that's available to me, my lab has only one computer, we don't have a lab in our college, but I have done this. So any management, any government will come forward to give us something more. This is, the general practice.
Are there any questions regarding our lecture?
I think you can even unmute them if they want to ask oral questions. You can unmute them. I think Subbu or somebody can help. If anybody has risen hand.
Any questions, please, from the participants? questions, please. Any questions?
Good evening, nagaRAJU sir.
Good evening.
This is Shweta Deshpande. Sir, I was your student in Bodhan, Madhumalancha Degree College.
Surprise.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah.
It's great seeing you again, sir. And I have a question. As we're teaching online nowadays, how can we ensure inclusive learning? Like, how can we ensure that everyone is participating in the class?
You can just go back to my class today. What have I done? I've done some 3 or 4 things. One, I gave you an assignment beforehand. I had 2 polls in which you participated. I asked you to chat with me. I asked you to type your answers. So these were a few things that I did to ensure that you are participating in the class. Same
yes,
thing.
sir. Of course. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Any questions, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I am C.V. from Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree College, Visakhapatnam. I have prepared some audio and video lessons during the lockdown period, sir, to my students. The class consists of nearly 100 plus students. We have got some WhatsApp groups. So I have sent the audio lessons to the groups. But as someone has asked just now, it's very difficult to know whether all the students have listened to my class. So of course you have conducted an online.
You have to build some assessment into your lessons. So there must be a question at the end, a poll during it, or some kind of response that you get from your student. The same way that happens in the classroom, no? In a physical classroom also, if you don't ask a question, you don't know whether the students are listening to you or not.
At least we can know that they are listening to our class. That is confirmed. But here, how can we know that they have listened to my audio lesson or they have watched my video lesson? That is the problem.
That's why you have to use the technology to the most competent level. Maybe, for instance, you can ask your students to keep their videos off. So, you can make eye contact with them. Or you can frequently ask questions. The questions need not, in case you don't have time, you need not have physical responses immediately, but you can ask them to type them to you and send them to you. Or you can create a WhatsApp group of your students and post that video in the WhatsApp group and ask them to, you can make it a broadcast group so that each student will not disturb the other and they will directly respond to you. You know who has responded, who has not.
Yes, sir.
Try it. Try all possible ways.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Congrats.
It's a wonderful session.
Thank you very much.
I have enjoyed thoroughly.
Good.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Ahmed Ali from Adhikavi Nannaya University. And I have just one question, sir. I have used already Google Classroom for conduct of a few of my lessons, and it was very good. But the problem came when evaluation came. I asked them to submit it in the form of PDFs. I was foolish. They just simply typed one fellow typed and the others just changed the names and sent me the same file. So I asked them to handwrite it. They did the same thing. So is there any portal or any website that allows me to have a stricter control over evaluation, sir? Classroom wise, Google Classroom is good. It is good to disseminate my materials. It is good to transact what I'm teaching. But at the evaluation level, I want to keep the grades confidential, which unfortunately Google Classroom does not have. At least I did not know that it has a confidential thing as of now. So is there any other app or any other web tool that I can use?
I think your problem does not relate to the technology. Your problem relates to the quality of your assessment. If I give them a project, a question, which can be multiplied, which can be plagiarized, which can be copied, and the same answer is possible, automatically they are tempted to do that. So your assessment should be such that they cannot copy. Your question should be such. So if I ask you, for instance, instead of asking you how many students are participating in this program, if I ask you, why are you participating in this program? What have you learned today? How are you going to use this? If I change the quality of my questions, instead of asking factual questions, I ask open-ended, reflective, experiential, kind of questions, automatically answers have to be different. Thank you. Thank you, Bhavani.
Sir, another question, sir. Another questions from our professor, sir, from ANDHRA University. It is a motivated talk. I would like to ask, how can we blend teaching aids into teaching a lesson?
Sorry,
how can we blend? How can we blend teaching aids into teaching a lesson?
I mean, very simple. I think the answer is very simple. For instance, if I go to a regular class, a physical class, I take a PowerPoint slideshow provided my college allows an LCD projector, and I'm using the PowerPoint slideshow to help me teach what I teach more effectively. So I'm using a tool in my class. Now I'm using an online platform. This online platform also allows me to use such technology. For instance, right now, I am using a PowerPoint slideshow. I could have just given a lecture without a slideshow. So I have built a slideshow into my lesson. I have built a poll into my lesson. I have built a chat into my lesson. I have built a pre-assignment into my class. So this is how we use tools into a class. Integration of both.
Are there any questions? Any questions from anyone? Any questions? I think no any questions, sir. Yes, someone is asking, sir.
Yeah, my name is Nasreen. I'm from Syria. I'm studying here in India. I wanted to know, like, if we're going to have an online classroom in Zoom or whatever app, how would we transfer this into B-learning? So just for example, if I have a BBT or something, does it, like, is it considered to be a B-learning in this case? No, I don't think so.
No, no. Thank you for being here. You are from Syria. I appreciate that there are students from so far away. I think you told me that you are in India now, but anyway, there are so many different kinds of students here. Regarding your question, see, just because I go online, I'm not blending anything. When does it become blending? When I use multiple modes. Only then. For instance, part of my class happens in the physical classroom and part of the learning happens in the virtual mode. Then it becomes blending. Part of the course is taught synchronously and part of the course happens asynchronously. Part of the course is a theory and part of the course is practical. Part of the course happens in the classroom and a part of it happens in the laboratory. Right? Or some students here in my class are listening to me and a section of my students, half of my students are going to the laboratory and learning there, they are rotating. So that kind of manipulation of the available resources, available time and available technologies very intelligently, wisely makes it blended learning. Just teaching in front of a camera is not blended learning.
Yeah, that's it. And I have another concern regarding B-learning. Like if it's like online, if it's happening only online, not in a physical classroom, how can we bring the lovable feature of face-to-face interaction into the classroom?
It depends on the resourcefulness of the teacher. Anyway, even in an online class also.
It remains like very low.
Yeah, I think that's one disadvantage of that, but you have to exploit that in the best possible way to see that you make yourself a little more impressive with your tone, with your presentation skills, with your language, with your body language, and also the content that goes into it. Once the student realizes that there is something that's not only useful to me, but is presented well, his attention is caught. And suppose the teacher is ineffective, even good content is lost.
Well, that mentioned, I think that you make a wonderful teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, one more question, sir. One more question.
Yes, please.
Some Sheila Prabhu, she's asking, sir, in schools, in schools, every week they are conducting Nexus class. On that, they are showing a related video to the subject. Is that also blended learning?
That is not exactly blended, but maybe that is some basic rudimentary form of blending, because two modes are used in the same place. The place is the same, only some video lesson or some other lesson is brought from outside. It's like using a PowerPoint slideshow in the class. I mean, that is, the basic form. I think you have to evolve from there. I think something good is happening, but that's not enough. Maybe tomorrow, for instance, take this situation, lockdown. So in lockdown situation, physical classrooms are not possible at all. How can you blend? So you have to blend other modes. Maybe part of it synchronous, part of it asynchronous. So I am giving you a lesson today. I am adding an assignment that needs to be done later and submitted. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much for having an interesting session. Please wait, sir. My Durga Ratna, my co-coordinator, she will pay you thanks and gratitude.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. I'm very much thankful to you, sir. This is the fifth time I attended your webinar. Still, I am learning again and again. And you have mentioned one thing, sir. You are now at the age of 67 years. So each and every teacher is expected to get inspiration with observation, sir. Because at this particular age also, what we have found that we have a lot of enthusiasm. My question is, one thing, sir, offline and online. Do we make all the students active participants through online compared to with offline, sir?
Knowledge. Both have advantages and disadvantages. Again, I just now answered the previous question. I told you it all depends upon the resourcefulness of the teacher. How effective, how resourceful, how competent, and most importantly, how passionate a teacher is. I think if you are passionate, everything will be taken care of. I know lots of teachers who just joined the profession and they don't know why they have joined this profession. They don't know why they are teaching. And teaching is just any other one more profession for them. For such teachers, nothing is challenging, nothing is rewarding, nothing is interesting. But somebody who has become a teacher to become a teacher, like I told you, when you blend something, you must do it with a purpose. Similarly, if you want to teach something, you must teach it with a purpose. If I become a teacher, I must become a teacher with a purpose. So if that fire is there in your heart, if you are ignited, and if you have that zeal to equip yourself with the technologies, techniques, methodologies, skills that are essential to make you a competent teacher, I think success is 100% possible.
Thank you, sir. I am A. Srinivas from Gayatri College, sir. So you have mentioned wonderful things. Many of the teachers entered this field by chance, not by choice.
Yes.
That is the thing, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Ratna, please speak.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. I'm very happy to be a part of this conference and most privileged to offer my gratitude to Mr.m. nagaRAJU, sir, who provided an excellent presentation on blended learning, the future of English teaching. Through his valuable presentation, we all have come to know what is blended learning and especially why is blend, which sir has used. I really like the word, sir, why is blend, and its advantages. The key takeaway points are blended learning is used to get the improved outcomes, which we all look out for, improved outcomes. And the blended learning is important to get updated, how it is important for all of us to get updated and upskilled, okay, with the technology and manage it to get the desired results. And I hope all the participants will prepare their own video presentations in their subject of interest, and all the teachers will be passionate towards the profession. And we will definitely attempt the quiz at 9 p.m. sir.
Please do it.
Once again, on behalf of VSM College, I thank Mr.m. nagaRAJU, sir, for sparing his valuable time and sharing his knowledge with us today. Over to Bhavani madam for further instructions. Thank you so much.
This is my email address here on the screen. In case you, suppose you want to share your videos with me, suppose you have any questions about what I have told you today, or if you have anything you'd like to share with me about this presentation, please feel free to write to me. I'll certainly try to respond to you at the earliest possible convenience of mine. nagaRAJU@gmail.com. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for accepting. Thank you, sir. Hello. Now we invite Amitha Ruth Goni. Good morning, Amitha, for you.
Yes,
Hello.
it is good morning.
Good morning, Amitha. A very great morning, Amitha.
It is indeed a great morning.
So I want to introduce you to the audience. See, I want to introduce you to the audience. Dr. Amitha Ruth Gone. She has done her PhD in English language education, currently teaching ESL in the Newcomer Center at Milwaukee Public Schools and Wisconsin, USA. In addition, she is a professor in English Language Institute in the Concordia University, Macon. Taught academic reading and vocabulary to TOEFL, preparing students from Tianhu University, Shanghai, and graduate students from Daegu University, South Korea. She is also an ESL instructor for students from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Brazil, and other countries at Milwaukee School of Engineering, one of the best universities in the USA. During 2014 to 17, this position involved teaching academic proficiency in English. Initiated a new course at MSOE, means Milwaukee School of Engineering, called the Strategic Test Taking Skills, and was the lead in professional development activities within the department. Further, during 17, she is a member at large in the WITOSL, means Wisconsin Teaching of English to Speakers and Other Languages Board, a regional body of EFL, means English as Foreign Language. English as Foreign Language. Teachers in the state of Wisconsin, she was an assistant professor as a TESL, means Teaching English as Second Language Trainer. Teaching pedagogical principles and current trends in the methodology of language teaching for 9 years in the world-class University of English and Foreign Languages in Hyderabad, means EFLU in Hyderabad. In this position, she met students from different states in India and many parts of the world, taught graduate, undergraduate, and international training programs, supervised teaching practicum, involved in research supervision, and different administrative responsibilities. During June 2007 to September 2008, she served as assistant professor in the Department of English, Nizam College, Usmania University, Hyderabad. Getting in touch with learners of many different levels at the graduate, undergraduate, and K7-12 gave rich insight into theorizing and teaching English as second language in different global settings and contexts and levels of proficiency. Presented several papers and published a few. Her intellectuality has become a resource materials that was published in CBSE, Central Board of Secondary Education, ELT project during 90s, which introduced the communicative approach to language teaching in India. It's a very nice, it's a great privilege for us to have with this great Amitha. And I want to tell one thing regarding Amitha Ruth is, society judges people by their success. But I was attracted to say, her dedication, simplicity, and humility gave her this distinguished position. Once again, I only can say we are very fortunate to get her acceptance. She is my classmate and a bosom friend of mine, and her friendship enabled me to organize this privileged session. Amitha, my heartful and great and grand welcome from me and from the Institute. Now I welcome you to deliver your message.
Thank you so much, Bhavani, my good friend. I'm so delighted to be here this morning. Yes, it is morning for me. My grateful regards to Ms. Meenakshi and Mr. Kiran, the principal, the director and the principal, and the other colleagues from VSM College. Thank you very much. It is indeed a privilege, I would say, to be part of this e-conference. Am I clear and audible?
A little bit energetic.
Yes, ma'am. Everything is okay from your side.
Is it good now? I mean, more audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm privileged to be here, as I said, and very grateful to Dr. Bhavani, my classmate and friend, and welcome everyone to my session. So let me share my screen. Let me start to share my screen first. Okay. So my session is on developing reading and writing. And as you have heard, this is Amitha Ruth. Why I call myself ESL professional is because I'm working both at the school level and also at the university level on and off in Milwaukee, in the state of Wisconsin in USA. Okay, this is going to be the outline of the session for this morning. Subbu, is the screen okay?
Your presentation is not visible, ma'am.
Oh. Excuse me. It says sharing, right?
Yeah, share screen.
Actually, I am sharing, but I don't know. It says I am sharing. Do you see my screen now?
No, ma'am.
No? No. I'm sorry about that. Actually,
Amitha, sorry for intervening. You go to that share screen, and within that window, you see at the top one share link. There are many. You see many windows, shorter, smaller windows. The top one is share. Click that. Have you gone into share screen first?
Is it sharing right now?
Yeah, correct.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So when I say present, I don't know if it is going off. I'm choosing present here. Is that okay still?
Okay, ma'am. Now it is okay, ma'am.
Okay, but I don't see myself on the screen also to the side. I don't know if you are able to see.
We are able to see you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So this session is going to touch upon the components of language Or when you say, what is it that you are able to do when you say, I know the language, or I can use the language? And therefore, we'll speak about the language skills. And then we are going to do two things today. Look at reading and writing. We'll try to understand what micro skills there are in reading as well as writing, in terms of being able to understand what it is to be able to read and what it is to be able to write. So we'll look at reading as a construct. What does it mean to be able to read? And then we'll look at a reading scale in terms of assessing reading. What does it entail? And then some reading strategies. Likewise, with writing also, we'll look at the construct of writing, look at the writing scale and writing strategies. And in between the two skills, we'll have questions to ponder about reading, and at the end, we'll have questions to ponder about writing. So firstly, what is it to say that we know the language? What does language learning or language consist of? Taxonomy of language. Okay, different things which are part of being able to know the language. What do people say? That is the code. What is something, how is something said? That is performance. What do people mean? Which is meaning. What is the cultural and historical ideology underlying what is said, which becomes the contextual meaning? So when we use the language, we are using language at these different levels, as code, as performance, as meaning making, and making meaning in a context. This can be explained further by looking at different levels of linguistics. Linguistics, again, is the crude form of language. So there are 7 levels of linguistics. Actually, I would have loved to go from bottom to the top as if it were some kind of a stairs we climb. But honestly speaking, these are not steps that we climb. Though some of these lower categories, phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, these are like building blocks of language. And when it comes to semantics, it is meaning. And pragmatics is meaning in context. And above all, we have language ideologies, cultures which impact, outlook that impacts the use of language, the choice of language. So these are the 7 levels of linguistics. When we say we are able to read, we are able to understand some of the code, use some of the codes in terms of morphology. Actually, we should have graphemes, morphemes, graphemes also, lexicography. So these are the building blocks of language. However, it doesn't mean that these are hierarchical, as I said. So we'll move on now to how, using all these, we use the skills of language. We read, write, we listen, and speak. When we look at the number of languages we have in India, I'm sure some of you will say, I'm very good at speaking Hindi, but I cannot write it. Some of you might say, I understand Urdu, but I can I cannot read it. After coming here to America, my children have lost writing skills, even reading in Telugu. They can speak Telugu. So when we use language, we use it to different degrees. We are able to perform certain skills. We are able to use it restrictively within certain domains of use. So language skills come into focus at that point, using all those several levels of linguistics we have seen. So we are slowly moving on to applied linguistics, using the code, using the meaning, using all those, and to actually be able to perform in language through one of these skills or domains of language. Now we look at what reading entails. I have this picture to the right of breaking the nut. So to be able to understand what reading is, we should break the nut of reading. What does it contain? What are the sub-skills or micro skills contained in reading? To be able to read, surely, we need to know the graphemes, the letters, and then go to the level of vocabulary. We need to understand words. And then we should be able to do these three different things, which take us higher and higher with our ability to read. So we need to be able to read the lines, first of all, which make literal meaning, factual stuff. Read the lines, or go a little higher and be able to, I'm sorry about that, be able to read between the lines. And some of us are very good veteran readers. We are able to read beyond the lines, which is critical evaluation of text. So we are talking about the building blocks, graphemes, vocabulary. Maybe we should have grammar, syntax too here. And then we are coming to reading the lines, which is where syntax comes into place, perhaps. Reading the lines. Unless you understand the word order in the lines, they won't make sense to you. So the next level is being able to infer meaning. Third level is to critically evaluate what you read. So what are the micro skills? I have actually quite an exhaustive list here of the micro skills of reading, starting from the very basic micro skills to some of the advanced micro skills. First of all, we need to be able to recognize the script, decode the meaning of words, and then understand information that is explicitly, which are like facts, just gathering some facts from the reading. And then go to the level of understanding the conceptual meaning. Understand the communicative value of sentences. And nextly, we have understanding the relations within the sentence, relations between the parts of text through cohesive devices, and then understand cohesion itself between parts of the text through lexical cohesion devices. And as we're going higher with more difficult micro skills, we need to be able to interpret text by going beyond it. This is like stretching our inferencing capacity to go beyond the text. Sometimes we depend on background knowledge to make sense of the text. That's where interpretation comes. And then recognize indicators in discourse. So slowly we are going higher from the level of just being able to understand vocabulary to discourse. Identifying the main point or important information in discourse. you can see a big list coming like that. Yeah. So all these micro skills are the pieces that make up the whole. When you are able to do each of these and go a little more higher and a little more higher, you master the skill of reading. Distinguishing the main idea from supporting details, extracting salient details to summarize the text, extracting relevant points from a text selectively, using basic reference skills, skimming, scanning to locate specifically required information, and finally being able to transfer information from a verbal to a diagrammatic display. So still, I would say that this list is from MANB's list of taxonomy of the micro skills of reading. That's where I took these points from, but there are more newer lists, I would say, which are easily available if you would like. So do we understand what reading is? What is expected of us when we say we should be able to read from just this list of sub-skills? Maybe yes, maybe not also. One question I would want you to think about right now is, what are some of these micro skills that you are good at? What are some of these micro skills that you still need to develop? What are your weaknesses in terms of being able to read? What are you able to do? What are you not able to do? That might be a good starting place to improve reading. To self-assess using some of these micro skills. It can be used as a checklist to say, oh, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that, but I'm weak at this, I'm weak at that. So that would be a good starting point to develop reading. But I have coming up next in my slides a kind of a model which tries to show to the teachers as well as students what someone should be able to do when they say, I can read. This is from Assessing Reading by Charles Alderson. I have extracted it from there, and it is something that he himself takes from a different writer called Vanapasi. Okay, so when I look at this, it is a little intimidating, I would say, until you make sense of what is given here. When you look at reading, you can look at it from this horizontal. Do you see my cursor? I'm sorry. So you can look at it from a horizontal point of view this way. So comprehending and transforming or restructuring knowledge, comprehending and reasoning or inferring or interpreting. So we go from a basic level of reading to an advanced level of reading. I hope that makes sense. So at a basic level, you're looking at events and facts. If you're able to read a timetable or just a wrapper, a lot of wrappers have a lot of information, nutritional information given there, how many calories and stuff like that. Sometimes we just look at a TV guide and make sense of when is what program running, kind of a thing. So that is just to locate information. You see the first point here to the left, which is in the vertical column. So you have the level of cognitive processing going on from left to right. horizontally. And you have the dominant intention or purpose for which you read going from top to bottom on the leftmost column. You see, the first purpose is just to locate information. Second purpose is to acquire new information, where you look at news and descriptions, definitions, etc. When you go to a higher level for acquiring information, you look at a circular, a summary, for example, a science report. So you're going higher and higher with the same purpose, but the level of cognitive processing required goes higher. I hope that makes sense. You can go a little more higher and see how there are academic essays, articles. You're able to read these and make sense, comprehend, reason, infer, interpret, invent, generate, and discover. So these are higher levels of cognitive processing you're using while you read. So on one hand, how much load is there mentally in terms of cognitive processing while you read is one question. For the teachers to think about when you ask students to do something, and also for the learners to figure out what is it, which level is it that you're performing, and then what is the purpose that you are trying to accomplish. If you go to 1, 2, 3, fourth row in the leftmost column, it says to analyze, judge, assess, evaluate, or improve text, which is a very critical purpose you have. And in this, you do not have just comprehension level. So the cell here that that correlates to comprehending, just comprehending, is empty. If you go a little further, you will see how there are critical articles and reports and state-of-the-art reviews. So when you analyze, you read some of those and you're able to accomplish reading at this level of understanding. So I hope that made sense. So any academic reading task can be placed in one of these cells, one of these boxes, and then you can see if, for example, it is argumentative or persuasive text. Where does it figure? It is to the left. The purpose is to analyze, judge, assess, and when you go to the top, it is to comprehend, reason, infer, interpret. So that's how you try to analyze the task of reading. At any level, reading can be put in this box, and it can be analyzed, the task of reading, based on what is the level of cognitive processing and what is the dominant purpose for reading. We'll move further now. What are the questions you can ask based on what you have seen so far? How much time do you read in a day? What level of reading are you capable of? So within this box, are you just at this level of comprehending, or have you gone to the second level of being able to transform or restructure the knowledge that you gain from reading, or invent and generate new material, new text after you read? So which level, what level of reading are you capable of? What are the different text types you read? Some of us in India are good at reading novels also in English. But some of us maybe are able to read cartoons, which are also difficult, I would say. I don't say those are simple at all. It's so difficult to decipher meaning from the cartoons. Some of us read newspapers. What are the different types of reading you do? Do you enjoy reading poetry? Okay, and then what purposes do you read for? How can you improve your reading? So when I was doing the micro skills, as well as the model of reading, the table that I just showed you, which level are you at and where can you go? What is the direction you can take? So that's how you ascertain for yourself. Lastly, what strategies can you employ for developing reading? I would like you all to take a minute to look at this, I would say, a reading scale. It's a scale which shows you which level you are. So at the lowest level, you're able to okay, I'll go to A2. There is A1 where you can understand very short, simple text, a single phrase at a time. A2 is can understand short, simple text on familiar matters. And then I'm sure most of you are at C1, B2 or C1. Can read with B2 is can read with a large degree of independence, adapting style and speed of reading to different texts and purposes, and using appropriate reference sources selectively, has a broad, active reading vocabulary. By the way, I cannot stress enough the importance of developing vocabulary. It is like having the building blocks to be able to read and comprehend. The more words you know, the better your reading will be. The more words you can recognize quickly. For very little kids, we teach something called sight words. So sight words are moment you see, you should be able to say the, and, cat. So those little words, it should not take much time to really look and decipher. Same way, as you go higher and higher, you should be able to recognize some academic words. You can search an academic word list and just make it a habit to develop at least 5 words per day. That's a good way to go. And then if we go somewhere here, C2. In C2, it says structurally complex. Do you see this phrase, structurally complex? It is talking about grammar. Are you able to decipher meaning out of complex sentences? There are some easy ways to pick up some structures, like not only, but all things like that. I'm sure you have all those done as part of your syllabus. And in India, it's very nice how we teach grammar for the sake of grammar. And it's so easy for us Indians to really get flawless language because we're good at grammar. And the very fact that we are able to speak, read, write, listen, and understand so many different languages, we should really take a lot of pride, when I tell to my colleagues here where I work that I'm able to read and write and speak and listen to Hindi, read and write and listen and speak Telugu, they are amazed. So when you're looking at your reading skill, at what level would you say you are? Can you take a minute and type in the chat box whether you are at B1, B2, or C1, C2, or A1, A2, whichever. You can choose one of those bands and tell me in the chat box as to how you assess your own reading capability. I'm not able to see here, but I hope Dr. Bhavani or someone is able to see the chat box. Thank you. So moving on, what are strategies you can employ? There's a good list of strategies available in many of the applied linguistics textbooks. If teachers want to find out, there are several books. I usually depend on a lot of assessment books because I taught language assessment at the EFLU University when I was there. And assessment books give a lot of clear lists for what the micro skills of reading are, what the strategies are to develop reading. So this is keep the meaning of the passage in mind while you're reading and use it to predict meaning. Usually when we are teaching reading, we just show the title and ask the learners about what do you think this passage would be. Predicting what the passage is going to be about helps you to read it better. So
sorry
there are
to
also
disturb you,
yeah.
Amitha.
Yes.
So many of the participants, they replied that they are under B1 and C1 and B2. Average is B2. The more are B1 and C1.
Okay. Bhavani, how are we on time? How much more time do we have?
We got another, it is 7:20 now. You could speak up to 6:45.
7:45. So I have
yes,
about
7:45. 7:40.
Okay.
It's up to 7:40, Amitha.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I'm good with time right now. Thank you. Thank you for responding about where you are with your reading. Actually, that is just one reading scale. There are several more reading scales available. If you look at the IELTS exam, they have a reading scale. And if you look at TOEFL, they have a reading or they have a scoring guide or a scale available. It will be a nice exercise to keep checking the scale and self-assessing yourself and see where you stand and also where you need to go, what you need to pick up. Thank you for that, Bhavani. So what are the reading strategies you need to employ? We were looking at how predicting meaning is a good way to go. And then this is exactly where a lot of students get stuck, unfamiliar words. When you encounter an unfamiliar word, that doesn't mean that you should stop reading. It should not bog you down. Usually, when you have an unfamiliar meaning, unfamiliar word, if you go further, the very next sentence or the next part of the same sentence explains the meaning of that word, paraphrases the meaning. In fact, in IELTS or exams like that, you have a question like, what does this word in so and so sentence mean? The paraphrase or the meaning of that word, in fact, follows that very sentence. So always look for the paraphrase of the meaning, and it is easy to understand the word when you look at the last one here on the screen, when you identify the grammatical function of an unfamiliar word. So if you look at what grammatical function that particular word is performing in the sentence, it becomes easy to guess its meaning. Is it a noun? Is it a verb? So depending on what function it is performing within the sentence, it becomes easy to guess the meaning of the word. And then circle back in the text. It's a nice thing to read with your eyes. It gives you speed for reading. But it is nice if you are dealing with academic high content text. It is better for you to hold a pen with you and highlight any word that you're learning newly or anything that doesn't make sense, or make notes in the margin. I remember how Bhavani and I used to really sit and read the classics together. I wonder how we did that, because classics are to be enjoyed personally, but for the sake of the exam, we used to sit and read Milton, Shakespeare, people like that together. So that was just a way to cope with it quickly. So you can adapt your own strategies. Okay, there are a few more. Examine the illustration and use information contained in it in decoding. So illustrations, pictures help in decoding the text. Read the title and draw inferences from it. Refer to the side gloss, not slide. Recognize cognates. Are there other words that relate to that word? Use knowledge of the world to decode an unfamiliar word. And then skip some words. It doesn't matter if you just jump and go to the next line. Sometimes when you have to answer comprehension questions, it's okay if you don't go at a very detailed way. But depending on the question, you might have to really scan for meaning. We are moving now to developing writing. I hope that was sufficient with reading. This is a beautiful quote from Francis Bacon. Reading maketh a full man. Conference is like speaking. A ready man, and writing an exact man. So if you want to be an exact man or a perfect man, you need to be a writer. You can get this quote again somewhere easily. Francis Bacon's. He has some very beautiful essays that can be a nice reading in itself. Okay. If a man write little, he had need have a great memory. So the palest ink is better than the strongest memory. So it's good to write. What are the micro skills of writing? Now we'll move a little quicker because we have already covered with reading a lot of the same stuff. I have mirrored or made this section about writing exactly similar to how I dealt with reading. What are the micro skills of writing? To be able to produce graphemes and orthographic patterns in English. Produce writing at an efficient rate of speed. By the way, how do you develop speed unless you practice? You cannot suddenly sit and write and think you can do a very superb job. No. You need to write a little every day. Maybe start with writing a shopping list. Start with writing a personal note to someone. start with making a little notes based on what you read. So I'm actually looking at how reading and writing are connected, or how you can use reading to develop writing. Okay, so produce an acceptable core of words and use appropriate word patterns. The more you keep writing, the sophisticated your language becomes. From basic words, you can go higher and higher to give more synonyms for the words you use, give more clarity. And then in writing, you have to be very, very careful with grammar. You can get away with it while you speak, but you'll be caught with your grammatical errors when you write. So you need to be very, very careful to proofread. That's why we're coming there, actually. We have to write and rewrite. We have to proofread and edit what you write. And then express meaning in different grammatical forms. Sometimes people say you need to write very lengthy sentences, like compound or complex sentences, to be able to make a lot of impact. Not really. Simple sentences can be very powerful sentences. Some of the most powerful things are said using simple sentences. However, to have variety in your writing, you need to have different types of grammatical forms, express the same thing or express meaning using several different sentence types. That shows the fluency you have, that shows the facility you have with the language. And then you have cohesive devices. Avoid using and all the time. You can say in addition to, furthermore. So you have a list of these readily available. If you ask for coordinating conjunctions, you'll get a big list. If you ask for subordinating conjunctions, you'll get a big list. Study the meaning. And then a nice way to go also would be looking at the base form of a word and looking at how different inflections, prefixes, and suffixes change the meaning. So that's a nice way to keep building up your language, make your language more and more sophisticated. I have exactly a similar grid here to explain what level of cognitive processing is involved at different levels of writing and what is the dominant purpose. If you look at the vertical column to the leftmost corner, you will see the dominant purpose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sometimes, for example, number 6, you write just to keep in touch some letters. Yeah. So let me look at number 3 and 4 here. At 3, you can, to inform, you can just quote or fill in a form. That is at the level of reproducing what you already know. It is something known to you. Linguistically pre-coded or predetermined information. If you go to the next level of cognitive processing, you organize and reorganize. By the way, this is a very helpful tool for teachers. And it gives a lot of clarity to the students also. When you look at, if you're asked to write an essay, where exactly, what is the level of cognitive processing that you are challenged with? It is actually invent and generate. No wonder our students lack writing skills because we throw them in the deep end. We throw them in the deep waters before we take them through lower levels of cognitive processing and easier purposes of writing. If you look at academic essays, you see it is at the third stage, invent and generate, and producing new or alternative material. So you are actually asking them to invent, generate new texts when you ask them to write personal essays also. And then academic essay and article also falls here within the third domain or purpose. And this last highest level of cognitive processing. I would like you to look at this grid by yourself for a minute and think about one task as a teacher that you have given, or one task that you have produced writing for as a student. Which grid do you see it in right now? I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list of examples given here, but I'm sure it will match one of these categories. You can maybe type in the chat box what type of writing have you given your students? As a student, what type of writing have you done? Where does it figure in this grid? Look at the horizontal column and look at the vertical column. So when you see the horizontal and the vertical and see any cell, it should be an intersection of something here and something here. So look at the box you're looking at and see what intersection it is. What is the kind of writing you mostly do within this?
Amitha, Nasreen said it is number 4.
Number
Nasreen
4
said,
and number 4, and what is the intersection?
someone has written it is a narrative writing.
Okay, narrative writing. Let's see where that is. Narrative writing should be somewhere here, right? Personal diary. It can be narrative report. So it is the intersection of organize, reorganize. That is the cognitive processing level, and it is to inform or to convey emotions. It can be the purpose can be number 2 or number 3. And what is the intersection here? Number 1 is reproduce, 2 is organize, reorganize, 3 is invent or generate. So what do you think is the cognitive processing level?
So many are telling it's number 4. So many people, they have dropped in the box, it is 4.
If it is number 4, can you also tell me where it falls in terms of the horizontal cognitive processing level? See the topmost column in cognitive processing. It can be just reproducing, it can be organize, reorganize, or invent and generate.
Everyone is dropping 4 only. I don't know that horizontal. Everyone is dropping 4.
Okay. So you are talking about to convince and persuade. By the way, even that is a difficult one. The purpose of convincing, persuading. If I take it at this level, that is 4 and Horizontal, let's say 3, third level. Third level is actually you're inventing and generating new text. You're creating a new text which had never existed before. That is a very difficult level to write at. If you take it a little to the left, the middle column, which is, if you look at the topmost part, it says organize or reorganize. When you're looking at that, you actually are dealing with some material that is known to you, that you already know, that is available to you. Based on that, for example, to write a biography, yeah, to write a small essay about, let's say, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You have material about him. So you just sit and write, organize, reorganize. First, maybe you'll say, where was he born? Maybe you'll say something like, who were his parents? So you are organizing the way the essay should go. But actual material is available to you. The facts are known to you. But when you go to a higher level, you are generating or inventing material. So even some reflective essays can fall in that, argumentative and persuasive essays. If you're looking at number 4, take number 4 like that and come to which column you need to come from top to the bottom. So if this is the intersection you're talking about, to convince and persuade, and on top of it you have invent or generate. Have I made it clear?
It's clear, Amita.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very
So,
clear.
yeah, so you look at writing that way.
Amita, we will go to the question and answer session. Any questions we will see. Could you see in the box, chat box, questions?
Just a minute. Babani, I think I have just about 2 or 3 more slides.
Yes. You can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll conclude in another 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So this is again a scale. You can see to look at what are the different dimensions of tasks within writing. What is the subject matter? What is the stimulus given? Any writing task you can analyze using this information. How much time is allowed to write this, for example? What are the cognitive demands? This is exactly what we try to analyze looking at that grid. Does it ask you to just produce facts, or does it ask you to organize and reorganize information? Okay, something like that. I'll take you further quickly. Writing scale, relevance and adequacy of content. How much content is there? Do you get full marks for your content? What is the organization like? Cohesion, connectivity, adequacy of vocabulary for the purpose. So when you're writing for a purpose. Do you have correlating appropriate vocabulary? What is your grammar like? What is mechanical accuracy in terms of using the mechanics of writing? Punctuation, for example. And several other mechanics. You can explore what that is. And finally, we have strategies for developing writing. Firstly, try to develop background knowledge. Try to get as much knowledge as you can. Reading a lot of things, listening to a lot of things, develop content, develop the things that you need to say when you write. And then give attention to organization. Improve your language use, vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, and mechanics. And I cannot stress this point enough. You need to look at writing as a process, not a product. You plan, generate ideas, write several drafts, edit for language errors, rewrite a final draft. When I say plan or generate, it will be nice to just take a topic in the middle and draw lines like a web and generate your ideas. Then sit and write it in the form of a paragraph or an essay. So planning and brainstorming on the topic is very, very important. Questions you can ponder about: what do you write? How often do you write? Why do you write? What are the purposes for which you write? How much do you write? How well do you write? What can you improve about your own writing? So these are some of the things that you can think about your own writing and attempt. Unless you practice to write more, you will not be able to take your writing to another level. So I'm done with that. Thank you very much. This is again, you can find me on LinkedIn by the name Amitha Gone. Thank you. So we are free to go to questions now.
Amitha?
Yes,
Amitha, shall we start question and answer session?
Yes, yes, yes.
You could see the questions in chat box, I think.
Okay.
If you see in the chat box, you have question and answers, questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see very many questions here. I don't see questions as yet.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
So this is Ravindranath from Visakhapatnam.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Ravindranath. Please talk.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. It's morning for me.
Oh, for you morning. Sorry. Right. Okay, very illuminating session, madam. Very novel ideas you have shared with us, especially the tables you have shared, very informative. But here is a question from me. What is the importance of reading the lines, reading between the lines, and reading beyond the lines? So can you please explain the importance of these three activities in reading comprehension?
Yes. Actually, when you go from just reading the lines to reading between the lines and beyond the lines, we are actually talking about how we go from a basic level of reading to a higher capacity in reading ability. So when you say read the lines, you're just able to read simple sentences. When you are reading between the lines, you see the discourse markers. You understand reading as discourse. What is the overall purport of that text? You are able to make sense. And finally, reading beyond the lines is like when you are doing research, for example, you read this text and you read another text. You read several different authors. And then you're able to go beyond this first text to the other texts and make connections. So that is reading beyond the text, beyond the lines.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And how it will be if you teach the students of the 3S and 3R technique, generally 3S skipping, skimming, and scanning, and these 3R. So these 6 strategies, do they really make the students understand well about what they read?
I would say taking them from one sub-skill to another. Skimming is one sub-skill or micro-skill. Scanning is another micro-skill. The more micro-skills they are able to handle, better their fluency in reading. Every micro-skill is important, I would say. Yes.
Thank you very much for your answer, and it is really a wonderful session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone? Anyone?
How can you make a student in an intensive reading?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello,
yes.
madam. Good
I
evening, madam.
think
Good
good
morning,
evening.
madam. Good morning. Very good morning, madam.
Good.
You
Yeah,
have
thank
presented
you.
the things very well in a novel way. And being teachers, I too have 23 years of experience, but I have learned many new things from you. And that's why I asked the organizers to share the PPT. Shall I contact in future for any kind of doubts and clarifications, madam?
Sure, sure.
Shall I have any
Actually,
access to you? Yes, madam.
Actually, you can find me on LinkedIn by the name
Yes,
Amitha
yes,
Bone,
madam.
and you can text me directly
Okay.
on LinkedIn. Yes.
Okay. Okay,
It
madam.
is
Then you see
Amitha
that
Bone.
another. Okay, madam. Another problem regarding reading or writing or if you're speaking or listening, there is a problem from the side of faculty members also. We are lagging in learning all these things because many of us have entered this particular teaching field by chance, not by choice. You have suggested us to read many books, and background is very, very important. But another important point nowadays, you see, many of the students are very weak in reading. And what are the basic measures being teachers we have to take? Tell me 3 or 4. Please suggest us.
Read. To develop reading, you read. Joking apart, I would actually take students from basic sub skills of recognizing and then looking at short sentences to being able to decipher meaning from very complex sentence structures. So taking them from lower sub-skills to higher sub-skills, higher order thinking, simple text to complex text would be a way to go, I would say. Actually, as teachers, we need to give students time to read within the classroom. Sometimes when we make people to read within the classroom, our administrators won't like it. They would think, oh, the teacher is not doing anything. Or the teacher might think, oh, I'm not doing enough. But when you give time to the students to read within the class and respond, give room within the class time to make observations about what they read, and critical discussions that would follow will be very, very good to do.
Okay, any questions? Okay, any questions?
I have one question here, Bhavani, in the chat box. My question is why most people won't show any seriousness while writing. For instance, participants, students, while posting in the chat box, WhatsApp, they don't even look out whether they are conveying the idea or question properly. How to address this issue, or how to change this attitude? Actually, I would say if you're a good writer, you're a good thinker. Writing reflects thinking. The more clarity you have in your thinking, the more clarity there is in writing. So if you're saying that people don't make sense in their writing, they actually don't make sense. So it is about how well you understand concepts, things that will bring quality and clarity to your writing. Another question here: how can we overcome actual problem while reading? Depends on what the actual problem is. It could be the matter of not being able to understand what you're reading. It could be the matter of not being able to read quickly. So considerable speed words per minute depends on how much practice you have in reading.
The more you read,
Actually,
the quicker the reading.
madam, actually my questionnaire is, as a student of PG level or UG level or a student level, we have to write some notes while you are speaking in the class. How could I calculate my reading speed as well as typing speed there? And how could I consider my speed in reading?
Actually, right now here I work at a school, the school level, and we look at a running record. It's called a running record, which is also called reading assessment. Okay, there are softwares right now which will really give you how many words per minute you are able to read and with how much accuracy and what types of errors are you making while reading. It gives an analysis of all those. Maybe you can look up something called running records. Yeah.
Amitha, could you see any questions in the chat box?
There is something here about the difference between spoken English and broken English. Actually, when you are speaking, you have several versions of speech depending on where you come from, what background you come from. You can have a kind of slang. So you cannot name any English broken English. It is just the level at which someone is able to perform, able to use the language. So it is just someone's specialty in language. So they are not able to do well because they have not picked up enough language. So that's why the brokenness in the language. That's why the brokenness in their writing, in their speaking. So as long as we are able to communicate, because we are people from India and we are capable of so many languages, we need to actually encourage ourselves that we are able to communicate in so many languages. If some of your language is not okay, it's okay. There's time and there's a chance to pick up more language.
Okay, Amitha, any questions? Any questions in the chat box?
There is something here about how do you evaluate the quality of English language. Actually, in my session, I showed you some scales. I showed you how you can assess yourself and see whether you are at A1, B1, or C1, or A2, B2, C2, whichever level you are, you can assess. So I'm sure tomorrow there is another session on feedback in the conference, and that will throw a lot of light on how to evaluate the language.
Amitha?
Yes.
Finished all the questions you have?
Yeah, I don't see
any questions.
Any questions? No.
Okay. So
someone is asking how to improve. How to improve English language? I think you need to develop as many sub skills, micro skills of language as possible. Yeah. Sorry, Bhavani, you can go ahead. I think now.
Okay. Okay. Durgaratnam. Sorry, we could invite Durgaratnam.
Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Please.
Thank you, Bhavani, madam.
Durgaratnam. Hello. Amitha, could you hear me?
I'm able to hear you. Durga also was speaking just now.
Yes, but I can't hear. You could hear, Durga?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But right now she is not audible. Maybe I can mute myself.
No, don't do that, Amitha.
Madam, I think the problem is with Durga Madam.
Okay, I'll pay the thanks invitation to Amitha. Amitha, I'm very thankful to you for attending this session and giving us very nice suggestions that coordinating conjunctions. It made me so pleasant using of coordinating conjunctions. Your suggestion of using coordinating conjunctions are very nice, and simple sentences are powerful. So these two made me so impressive. Brevity is the soul of wit, like that. The simple sentence like.
I'm sorry for the technical issues. I'm back, Bhavani Madam. May I continue?
Yeah, you continue.
Thank you. So two of the language skills or domains, reading and writing, and their micro skills are explained. It made us familiar with the dialogue assessment specifications for reading and writing, ratings which help us to check where we stand with respect to the abilities and what are the areas which we need to improve. This session provided us the strategies to improve the reading and writing levels. It motivated all of us with Francis Bacon quote, which promotes to write more to improve the writing skill and making writing as a process. This session advised us to be a good thinker, to be a good writer. We will definitely take this point, Madam. Once again, on behalf of VSM College, I thank Amina Madam for sparing her valuable time and sharing her knowledge with us today. Over to Bhavani Madam for further instructions. Thank you.
Thank you all. So I want to have something from the feedback of our participants. Anyone? Participants, please respond. Participants, please respond. We want to have some feedback from you people.
Good evening. Good morning to Amitha ma'am, and good evening to everyone else. I'm Ahmed Ali from NAAC University. This is my, I think, since the lockdown has begun, I think this is my 22nd webinar, and practically I was worried where this is going to be one of those moments that I will just simply forget. But I know VSM. I had the good fortune of working there for a few days, and I know how they adapt themselves and I know how they raise up to the needs and the changing situations. So this webinar is one of those, it's not even yet over. This conference is one of those memorable things that I will cherish. While nagaRAJU's session was resourceful, it was engaging, and he was dealing with so many ideas, and I was bubbling here with ideas on how to implement those on my students. Amitha ma'am's session was more of me reminded myself of my IELTS training and how I used to train the students of IELTS. I think my students are also there in the participants, and I think that they will benefit a lot from Amitha ma'am's session, whereas the faculty members as well would benefit from nagaRAJU's session. Both the sessions were complementary to each other, and I thank wholeheartedly the VSM and Bhavani ma'am for arranging such wonderful resource persons. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Ali sir. So now a closing remarks by me. It's been an honor to be among such accomplished individuals and to be able to present my perspective before you all. Thank you and a good day. Thank you all for being here today and taking the time patiently listen to what the resource persons have said. I wish you all a blessed day. The sun will rise, the days go on. And this is appropriate in all times and all situations. So we wait, the sun will rise tomorrow. So we have all the hope. So thank you all for being with us. And tomorrow we meet at the same time. Tomorrow we meet with the same time, and we will have the feedback for you all. Thank you all. Thank you once again.